This episode of Lawyers Tell All is brought to you by Law Firm Conversions. If your law firm's phone is ringing, that only means your marketing is successful. It's what happens when the phone is answered that will drive your success or failure. Visit www.intakeacademy.com and claim your free copy of this groundbreaking book, along with resources on mental health for intake specialists and empathy. Plus, become eligible to receive a free 15-minute consult with Chris Mullins. Welcome to the Lawyers Tell All podcast, where Chris Mullins, the preeminent sales and communications consultant in the legal industry, shows you how it looks through lawyers' eyes. Here, innovators in the trenches provide powerful insights that help you connect with new clients, handle the sometimes harsh realities of the legal profession, and embrace the mindsets needed to succeed. Be sure to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com. And while you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, tune in, and let's take a deep dive.
Hello, everyone. It's Chris Mullins with Lawyers Tell All, and I hope everybody's doing wonderful. Today, I'm going to be interviewing Joe Ruotolo. How did I do? Is that okay?
Great.
With Intaker. So, Joe, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself.
Oh, Chris, thank you so much for having me. What's up, everybody? My name, Joe Ruotolo. I'm the head of marketing here at Intaker. We're a growth automation and software company that helps law firms make the most of their marketing, of their intake, and help them get to the next level in their journey by using things like AI and automation and website chat, but using empathy as the core of it. And Chris, I know empathy is an important word for you and your community, and so I'm happy to be here and to get a chance to hang out for a little bit.
Yeah, I've been eager to chit chat with you, and I love everything that you just said because, we're in total alignment, which is really great. But the first thing is just how did this whole thing start for you? What happened?
Oh, well, okay. I'll give the short version of the story. How Intaker found me, how I found Intaker. I used to be in education, actually. I used to live in New York before I moved to Los Angeles, where I started with Intaker. And I moved across the country. I wanted to get in sales because education was a beautiful career, but just didn't pay the bills enough. You know what I mean? And so when I got into Los Angeles and wanted to start this career, my first sales job was with a solar company, and it didn't work out. They were not the most ethical solar company. But what happened was, on my last day there, I ran into someone in the elevator, and I just had to, I was so excited to be out of that, company that was not treating people well and start somewhere fresh. I didn't know what I was going to do, but I just said to the random person in the elevator with me, I just quit my job today, and I'm just so excited and happy, and I had to tell somebody. So thank you for listening. And the person said, oh, interesting. What are you doing? Walk with me. And it wound up, long story short, being the co-founder, CEO of Intaker, Puya, who was at the time built this as a little, startup working with, at the time, close to about 100 law firms that he had pretty much all sold himself, done all of the sales, the onboarding. After building the whole product, primarily website chat for law firms, meant to pre-qualify, increase conversion rates, but just take the hard work out of the the vetting process for law firms. That was kind of the first problem that the product aimed to solve. But anyway, from that meeting in the elevator, about a month later, I joined him in the office, and I came on board as the first sales rep for Intaker. And since then, I've had a bunch of different roles, but now I'm heading up the marketing, getting to have beautiful conversations with people like you, Chris, and it's been a journey for sure.
Awesome. And how long has it been now for you?
For a little over 4 years. It was actually March of 2020. And that's an interesting time because, March of 2020, I think everyone probably remembers where they were when, the world started to get locked down. I had my first 2 weeks of training with Puya co-founder in the office. And then mid-March, he said, you know what, why don't you work from home tomorrow? It's getting a little weird out there. And I did not see him again for 8 months, when we locked down, especially here in Los Angeles. Other parts of the country was not as extreme. Here in LA, it was a different story. But it was also interesting because at that time in, March and April of 2020, law firms were really in a crisis too. And there was so many, folks who didn't know, like the clients couldn't come in, they relied on having those meetings in person. All of a sudden, it's just canceled. They can't do it. And what's interesting is right around that time is it actually took Intaker in a little bit of a different direction of how to add more empathy to the
Yeah.
process because, we were always about automation, pre-qualification, but that was around the time that we explored how to start using video in the product. I mean, if people don't know or don't have a reference point for Intaker, it is a website chat. It's automated, so it will pre-qualify leads on autopilot. But one of the things that also makes it stand out is having a video of either the managing partner or someone at the firm, deliver that empathy, create that sense of human connection, even though this is, an automated process. And that came directly out of COVID, of talking to customers and
Yeah.
people that were looking at the product and finding out, what were they going through? What were they dealing with? And since then, the world has changed, but now I think video in automation and the things that we do have become a little more commonplace even uh, after COVID.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Okay, so you're kind of like the face of Intaker now, aren't you? Would you
These
say?
days, these days, yeah, there are two co-founders and they're both geniuses in their own right, super technical. But yeah, when it comes to going to conferences or getting to hang out and do the fun stuff. I get to do the fun stuff, Chris. It's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm just going to ask you a quick question. The teaching world, what kind of teacher were you?
Oh, math and physics. And later on, yeah, SAT prep, SAT, GRE, all the things that kids and I guess students of all kinds need to, advance in their career. But yeah, and it was good. So much that I loved about it. But what I really am happy about is all the things that I loved in teaching, for the most part, I got to also look through a new lens in sales and experience them in kind of a new light because it's all, you know, creating connections and motivation to inspire action for someone's to reach their own higher potential, right? Whether that's getting them aligned with a product that's going to help them reach their goal, or whether that's getting ready for the next big test or whatever it is. So yeah, I'm very grateful for my own journey. So thank you.
Okay, perfect. Okay. All right. So Intaker, and I know about the videos and everybody should go to Intaker. It's intaker.com, right?
Yeah, you can go to integer.com. If you're not familiar with the product, people that are listening, you'll be able to see, website chat is what we're most known for. There are more layers to it. After we solved the problem of, pre-qualifying leads and increasing conversion rates on websites, what happened was we had all these people, customers that were getting leads and they were happy about that, but you can probably relate to this, Chris. They didn't have a system to necessarily turn those
Yeah.
leads into clients that they could serve. And so that became the next challenge that we aim to solve for our customers. And so beyond just the website chat, there's a whole side of the product that's built on lead management,
Right.
like
Yeah.
CRM functionality, to pre-retainer, everything from that first impression up until getting the signed retainer. And in that process, it has been pretty amazing to see all of the new tools that are available with things like OpenAI's GPT, integrations, how you can put AI in all different products. And what
Yeah.
we've been able to do is just build the CRM with AI doing a lot of the heavy lifting when it comes to things like putting the right data in the right place or even making decisions based on what that data says. So here's how I describe it. Intaker chat is meant to just capture the facts of the case, right? If you're a personal injury firm and you're dealing with folks that might be could be an auto wreck, it could be a slip and fall, it could be a dog bite, whatever it is. There's all different pre-qualification questions that you need to ask. And typically, if someone calls on the phone, then that's where you and I know your team come in to kind of train, give the right support to intake teams. But for law firms that are capturing leads online through web chat, if they're just getting a generic what was your story, what is your situation, and then maybe a couple of other data points, it might not be helpful because the law firm might need to just get on the phone with them anyway and fill in the gaps
Yeah.
with the rest of the facts of the case. So on the chat side, what Intaker would try to do is just get all of that information that you would need to determine, is this someone that my law firm can help? Or is this someone who, we can't serve, or someone who's going to waste our time? Uh, Getting that information up front, making the right decision, but then also is, taking action on if it is a highly qualified lead, someone that comes in and that needs to go connect this person to the managing partner on a phone call right away, or the lead attorney responsible for intake. That might be one example, but then if it might not be as qualified, like if it's, not a head or spine injury, maybe there's another person that it would connect to, like, a different intake professional, if it was something that was still a good lead, but maybe not as serious of an injury. And then, there's a lot of different ways where the lead management side of things can actually make decisions about what to do with leads based on criteria that the law firm sets. It's not like intakers deciding this stuff. So anyway, I know I'm going on a lot. So
No, it's okay. So, and everybody knows that, everything that we do is Intake Academy. It's all things conversion, whether it's intake or chat or web forms, or it doesn't really matter. Inbound calls, outbound calls, AI, all of that. So just give us an example, like, of the whole lead management part. So someone comes in, they do a chat, like, what's going to happen? Like, how does the intaker handle it to get it to a conversion moment?
All right. I like that question. When you get a lead that comes in on your website, I'll continue with a personal injury example,
Yeah, let's
just
do
because
that.
I think hopefully it lands for your audience.
Yeah, it
But
will.
if a lead comes in,
Mhm.
and let's say that, they just mentioned it was a car accident, it was kind of the generic, general case type. The questions that someone would ask are going to match, something for an auto wreck versus a different type of injury, which might be like, a slip and fall. You might want to know, was it on commercial private property, or like, government property? Those kind of things for like a slip and fall case would not really necessarily help you if you were dealing with like an auto wreck lead. But instead, things like knowing, where the accident happened, severity of injuries, were you at fault? Was the other driver at fault? Those types of things you're able to get that information up front with a
Mhm.
lead. And then all of that information can be first organized into the right fields. You can think of custom fields in a CRM. For folks listening, you might have like a CRM already, and you might love it, and that's fine because you could just integrate a tool like Intaker with whatever existing system
Yeah.
that you're using. But if you are using Intaker for the lead management side, having that information go into the right place, and then based on criteria. So maybe if the word head or brain or spine or something in the injury area, if that word shows up, that might trigger a different set of automations based on certain keywords in that example. And, that could be, like I said, triggering a phone call to a managing partner or lead attorney for intake. That could also be sending a text or email to a person, and even sending like an e-sign retainer. And I know there's some times when, especially for single event personal injury, you might not want to send a retainer to anyone, who just kind of mentioned certain keywords, right? It still might be a phone call is necessary in that example. But being able to put that lead in a different pile automatically and put it at the top of the pile, really, for whether that's an attorney or an intake specialist to get back to this person right away because it's an incredibly hot lead. And even better, if you want to connect with them on the phone, basically while they're still on your website filling out the chat, you can also use AI to make that phone call and bridge the connection. And let me give you an example
Yeah.
of what I mean.
Yeah.
So if we go back to the head and brain injury example, if someone's on a chat and they enter that information, as soon as that information is captured, then that can go to the intaker AI, which would see and understand, okay, this is like, let's say a highly qualified lead or, serious high value case. And then it would know to run a workflow to automatically call, the first, the lead attorney in that example. And that attorney would get a call saying, hey, you just got a lead from Intaker. It's, John Smith, and, involving a car accident, and it is highly qualified, meaning, they use the words like head or brain or something like that. And then that attorney would just be able to immediately bridge the call or like press one and connect with the person on the other side who's actually filling out that contact form. The goal of which is to just shrink the time between when someone reaches out for help and when they're talking to an attorney. And I guess I should back up and mention why this is important, because for personal injury especially, it's so competitive and leads will go cold in minutes if you can call them back. So if you can find a way to use automation, use some of the new AI functionalities that are out there to just close the gap and make sure that people are getting connected to people in less time and seconds when possible, that's where we've been able to see a lot of success for our clients. It's not just personal injury who benefit from this, but I say this by far the most impactful practice area.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I had a car accident. I go to the website. I see the video. I click on it. Car accident, whatever the questions are. So I go ahead and answer those questions. And so if I have I talk about my car accident and I mention everything about like brain injury, not brain injury, but like I was unconscious, I'm dizzy, all those kinds of things there, that might signal like a bigger case and or TBI or something. So it's going to go to like immediately, if the firm tells you this, immediately it's going to go to like the attorney, for example. And like when the attorney picks up the call, it's going to be AI saying da 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 da. This is what this is. And then the attorney could stay there and actually have that person. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Like,
You probably did a better job summarizing it. But yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, of using AI to bridge the connection. But, when the person on the other side who is filling out the form, when they pick up the phone, when they get a call, it's actually the attorney or the intake person responsible at the law firm. And so it's not so much that people are talking to robots on the phone as much as AI is bridging the gap and making sure that, the people get the help they need a little more quickly.
So the AI is like a whisper to whomever, like, hey, and so then automatically I'm Mrs. Smith. Hi, this is Attorney Mullins. Wow, oh my God, I am so sorry. I just found out that you had a terrible accident and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so or it might go to the intake team, right? Okay, but tell me about like the conversion. Tell me more about how Intaker can help with the conversion. That right there helps because it, like you said, there's not as much of a gap in time, right? It's now. But like other examples, how can Intaker help with the conversion besides that?
Yeah, and so there are, I would say, two levels typically, and that is the conversion from like a website visitor who might not know you, might have found you online doing a search, doing a Google search or something, the conversion from visitor to lead. And then there's the next step, which is actually getting from the lead stage to becoming a signed client.
Yeah.
And I can talk a little bit to both of these. And again, as far as the conversion side, that's where, Intaker, we work with about 1,000, a little more than that, law firms now. And every one of those customers uses Intaker for exactly what you said, increasing the conversion rate and cutting out the bad leads early so that they're not wasting time for people at the firm.
Mhm.
But how does that work exactly with the increasing the conversion? I'll give you two ways. The first, you kind of alluded to it before, which is it's still speed. Speed is so important when you're dealing with, especially, these are people that are not loyal to you or your company if they just found you on a Google search. And again, some people who've got a lot of immediate pain and they've exhausted all the other options and they need to call, they're going to call. But for a lot of folks who they might not be in, they might physically not be in a place where they can have a phone call, but they're doing research, they're looking for help.
Mhm.
Using chat is a great avenue for that. But if you're going to have a chat experience where someone has to wait,
Yeah.
a minute just to get a response back to that initial message, then oftentimes those are going to bounce. You won't even know that they were there in the first place. And
Mhm.
you might assume that like, oh, all my good leads come from phone calls because you might be using an outdated system for chat that just is not as responsive as other options today.
Mhm.
So the speed is one of the big ones. And that's why you can compare like a live chat with a traditional, with a live operator to Intaker and there's no question if it's a live person who's there at their desk and they're educated, they're informed. If it's like an attorney
Yeah.
doing the chat, that's going to be the best, but that's not realistic for 99% of firms. So using an automated chat that can just capture the facts and respond instantly in, a second when someone puts in a message and just get the facts that you need to determine if this is a good case or not. That's the first way that the lead conversion is just transformed compared to more traditional live chats.
Let
Now,
me just say something real quick before I forget. So hold that thought. Um, so the other thought is that if Mary does the chat, there is that thought, that mindset of I don't want to talk to anybody right now. I can't talk to them, and or I really just don't want to talk to them. Um, and so if she's using technology to get her needs met, then the live chat really doesn't work because it's a person and she's more set on I just want to get my information out there and see who can help me. I really don't want to talk to someone for whatever the reason is. So that just kind of like makes it even more because you're kind of lining her up for what she originally reached out for, right?
mm,
And the other thing is with the live operators, they're not, I mean, there's a big delay all the time. It's kind of like call centers with the agents or intake team or whatever we want to call it, because we do a lot of that outsourcing. There's a whole nother topic, but it is there's a delay and then the operator also isn't listening, right? Because they're not answering a question that Mary might ask. They're like, keep doing their script. And so, it's just no, it's not real. I don't really believe that it's a good experience and it's really slow and it really can make Mary angry. And the other thing, it's not controlling the conversation either.
mm.
So um, those are all the reasons that I don't think that live operators really are the way to go.
I you reminded me of something when you just said that because if we had this conversation even 12 months ago versus today, it would be a different outcome. What's happening now with AI literally replacing
Yeah.
in customer service, customer support, just a lot of different roles are changing. And, for kind of like what you said before, things like controlling the conversation, listening,
Mhm.
and actually like delivering empathy in a way with where there is person does not have to wait
Yeah.
And it really, the whole experience for the user is way better than what they're used to. This is all possible now, even with large language models, with LLMs, with, one of the new things that we have actually launched this past month at
Mhm.
Intaker is, using automation and AI and LSA responders. So Google Screen message leads. And, why that's such a big deal? Well, there's two reasons. The first is we've been waiting for the time when, AI technology automation is like good enough to actually be reliable when
Mhm.
it comes to this kind of function in a business. And whether it's a law firm or a hair salon or literally any business, but we're just laser focused on serving the legal industry right now. And being able to, fine tune an AI to actually handle people's messages over, LSA messages or even over the text messages where they
Mhm.
can only give you some information like breadcrumbs up front. And having a system that's smart enough to know the right questions to ask, to know when a lead is pre-qualified, to help take the conversation back on track if the user takes it in a different direction.
Mhm.
I did not know in the beginning of this year where we would be by now. And this is April 2024 for those that are listening in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
future. I did not know where we would be in terms of having the technology to actually do like a whole, the whole experience from beginning to end using AI agents to help law firms do everything that we're doing on website chat, but in other vehicles, right? That could be LSA, that could be text messages. In the
Right.
future, that could be your Facebook leads and everything like that. So
Right.
it's now, the game board is totally different than it was a year ago. And it's exciting for us. It's probably a little bit scary for a lot of people, but it's something where you can either be afraid of it or you can
Oh,
just get
yeah.
in front of it and start to adapt how your firm is doing business, to the way that people are now even expecting businesses to communicate with them using channels like text messages, which I didn't talk too much about, but that's another big part of the automation, both inside Intaker and what people expect is communicating over text, moving conversations from website when
Right.
they're initially qualified to their cell phone or to their text message, where now they're not going to disappear when you log off and you can continue that conversation. Now you can have a live person jump in and continue that, or you can continue it being automated. There's so many different ways of using this blend of technology and, human power. And I guess the thing that, and why I love your message, Chris, listening to, some of your work is that empathy is at the heart of all of it. That's the one thing even humans, could use like more empathy training a lot of the time. And to see technology kind of be able to keep up in that way is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And I know I probably get in trouble for saying this, but somebody will say something to me somewhere that it's possible that AI, at least the more advanced AI, is um, doing better at listening. I know I'm going to get I'm going to get all kinds of emails or phone calls or something about that, but I don't know. I mean, it's something to talk about. It's something to consider, but also it'd be really cool. And maybe Integer does this if Mary is doing the chat and but Mary also gets a text while she's doing the chat. Like just gets a text while she's doing it. Mary, yeah, these are some things that I just heard you say. Just stick with me here. We're almost done.
Hmm.
Just another communication moment that she gets because we don't want her to leave.
Hmm.
And we want her to feel more engaged and even bigger and better about that moment. And if she's having a difficult time and maybe someone's yelling at her and she's ready to yell, she might think, oh, wait a minute, I better stay here for a second. So there's all kinds of things that you can do. And I think it's great. But then there's that so all of these things equal conversion, but we still have to ask for the sale, right? So tell me just how that moment happens. I interrupted you a while ago, so just tell me like how that happens.
Yeah, yeah. I'll go back to what I was gonna mention, and then I'll get to your question. Because you asked, how does it actually help get more clients in the door? Not just
Yeah.
leads to your website,
Oh,
but
yeah.
actually, people that you can serve and that will choose you. And you alluded to it before. We talked a little bit about the video functionality. We launched it in the beginning of COVID. It has become one of the, most iconic parts of the Intaker product is
Yeah.
having the video. And, what we found is that, when done right, the video can go further to helping people choose your firm over the competition. And you can imagine for people who've never seen it, this is like a 20 or 30-second personal video, speaking directly to you, the visitor, from the
Hmm.
managing partner, letting them know, hey, if you were injured in an
Hmm.
accident and it wasn't your fault and you're looking for the right legal support, then we'd be happy to help you. So I'm attorney so-and-so, please, we'd love to chat. So click below and we can get started. Just
Yeah.
that short little message when someone lands on your website versus a competitor that might be using, same marketing, uh, strategy, same spend on paid ads, same everything, except they don't have that personalized touch
Yeah.
on video of someone visiting the site. Just that one little shift can go a long way. And I've talked to I'm thinking of a client of mine, a bankruptcy attorney in North Carolina. But what he said to me was that the leads on the online leads that they get, the people that actually hire their firm are the ones that come in from Intaker. And he had a great video. And I've also seen the opposite side happen if someone has, they put 2 seconds of thought into their video.
Yeah.
And
I've seen that too. Yeah.
yeah, so, it does take, and that's kind of one of the things that, hey, we're growing, but we still have the heart of a small company. And we try really hard when we see someone, when they're doing great, we love to support them, congratulate them. If we see that they need a little more support doing what they need in terms of the video, being able to spot those problems early before it hurts conversion. So just for all the people listening, if you are looking at intake or thinking about video, you can ask our team for some great examples. We can certainly give you some. But yeah, the video, it is, even though it's short, it's impactful, and that'll go a long way to helping people decide to choose you because it's one of the hallmarks of, good marketing. It shows that you're different and that you care.
Yeah. Right. Right. And I think if you go to I could be wrong, but I think if you go to Pilma, PILMM, Mary A, Pilma .org. I think if you go there to Pilma's website, Ken Hardison has a video of intake. So, and you should go to Pilma because this is April and May is the summit. And I'll be there speaking and Joe will be there, right? You'll be there, Joe.
We'll have someone there. I don't know if I'm
You'll have
going.
someone, but you'll have Intaker there. Intaker will be.
Intaker will be there.
Yeah,
Yes.
go to pilmma.org and you can get an example right there. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I think would be really good too is, so when you talked about the elevator, it was interesting because what we do with Intake Academy to students during our whole sales coaching process is we have them do an elevator pitch. So the old school elevator pitch, everybody, a lot of us know it, right? It's been around forever. So we have them do a 25 to 30-second video recording, introducing themselves with the whole concept of the elevator pitch, like exactly what you did. But then those videos, some of them are so good that they go on the website. So
Right.
Intaker would be really cool if the video wasn't just the attorney or the managing partner, but intake specialists.
I love that idea. You're the first person to mention that. And it's actually true that you can, on different parts of the website, have different videos load. So
Yeah.
maybe on your homepage, you might want the managing partner, but then if there's like the team or about
Yeah.
us or another section of the website, if there's anyone who's a star at your law firm who, you just know is like really their personality is magnetic, it's attractive, and it's going to help elevate the experience when someone see it, then you can certainly have different videos, highlight different team members. But thank you. That's a sweet idea.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm just looking at the time here. So as far as the conversion, is there any like example you want to like quickly give about here's how that can happen when things all line up?
Sure, sure, yeah. And I guess the missing piece there is when someone wants to send like an e-sign retainer.
Yeah.
And so, another part of if you're using Intaker for the lead management, you want to be able to send retainers and get people to sign up right away. When you get the information either on your email or by logging into the dashboard, I'm talking about you, the law firm owner, or the intake staff responsible for getting these retainers signed and squared away. Then when the lead comes in, it'll have all the facts of the case,
Yeah.
someone entered on chat. And so, from there, if it looks good, being able to, make that call still, especially for things like if it's mass tort, it's a different story. We can talk about automations in that. But for any like single event personal injury, when someone sees that lead, if they call them, they follow your playbook, Chris,
Yeah.
and then they get them, to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, let's do this. Then just having a button where they can just immediately click and have all the information be filled out from the chat regarding, their name, the email address where they need to sign, and that can just be sent automatically. And so that there's like a one-click e-sign option as well. So whether you're the attorney, whether you're the intake person, being able to send off those retainers, even while you're still on the phone with them, and let them know and coach them through and say, hey, you should have just gotten this in your email. So I'll stay with you, but if you can open that, I'll show you where to sign it. That sort of thing and again, I know so much of what we do is in the automation space, but to completely remove the human element and rely totally on automation, while I'm not going to say it's not a year away, it could be a year away, it could be 6 months away, I don't know. But for right now, that's what's going to separate in the mind of the person who's looking for help, the firm that really cares, the firm that shows that, yeah, they have systems in place, they have, they put the client experience like first, but also that they're not totally relying on technology to do everything, that there's actual people there who really show their care, their compassion for these folks who need help.
Perfect. Okay. Well, any last words for everybody?
I guess I'll just mention if any of this was intriguing to you, the person, the listener, you can just go to intaker.com. You can learn a little bit more there. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can fill out a chat. We do have a phone number on the website, but it's not on the homepage. So you can dig around, but most people reach out through chat. And also just a note about the future. I mentioned that, we announced AI agents and we have our first cohort of clients that are using Intaker AI for their LSA message leads. So whether you might be interested in, could be website chat, it could be LSA, it could be just, how to use more AI in my law firm to help grow, to help get more leads in the door and help get more leads signed up as cases. We'd love to learn about you, chat with you, and take it from there. But Chris, I appreciate you having me today, and I can't wait to continue the party.
Awesome. Well, wonderful. Thank you. All right, everyone. It's Chris Mullins with Lawyers Tell All, and we'll see you again real soon. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for tuning in to Lawyers Tell All, where Chris Mullins takes you on a journey with lawyers in the trenches who show you the realities of what it takes to succeed in this chaotic, crowded, ever-changing profession. Remember to visit our website at www.lawyerstellall.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on Lawyers Tell All.